Hello and welcome to episode 19 of the Regista Football Podcast. My name is Jack. Once again, I'm joined here by my good friend Ben. How are you doing, man?
It's a beautiful day, Jack. It's wonderful outside.
It is a beautiful day. I was too much of a bitch to sit in the sun, so now we're sat in the shade again. But my pasty English skin couldn't handle it, Ben. That's what it was.
You know what? I'm okay with a little shade while we sip our beer and
Exactly.
enjoy some football talk.
Speaking of beer, where are we?
We're at our favorite Sikh beer out here on El Cajon in Ohio, Illinois. It's one of our local spots that we frequent often.
Yeah.
Have we been here yet?
We didn't release
we didn't release
the recording because the sound was so bad. So hopefully the sound is much better now. I did test it. I'm less inebriated as I was then. So now I can definitely test the audio, which we did. But we have a pretty action-packed show for you. It's been a busy week in both of our personal lives. So we've not been able to get to it until now, but we are here. Let's run through everything we're going to go through, Ben. So go through the order of operations for everyone.
Yeah, you know what? We're going to start off with Andy Robertson. Briefly talk about Andy. Then we're going to go into a brief of the FA Cup review, Southampton versus Arsenal, Man City versus Liverpool. If you listen to this podcast, you know football, you know that we don't want to talk about that too much here. Then we are going to review the Champions League, Sporting Arsenal, PSG, Liverpool. And then we're going to do a brief preview on the upcoming Premier League matches, Fulham, and then Bournemouth for Liverpool versus Arsenal respectively.
Sounds good to me, man. So let's get straight into it. So Andy Robertson. When I give you the name Andy Robertson, what do you think of, Ben?
I think marry me, Spazolai, you'll never have to be alone. Andy Robertson just seems like a nice guy, man.
Yeah, he is.
Scottish national team, that's the main reason I know him. He just seems like a good, decent guy. Of course, I know him from Liverpool as well, but he seems like he gets along with everyone. He's also been a stalwart in defense for Liverpool. I think that left back position was something that he really developed in, and really, I could say modern day football. He's been a prominent left back for a good while.
I really like that call out because I think he is at least for Liverpool, one of the catalysts of the new era. Buy him for $8 million from Hull City once they get relegated.
Yeah.
And the way Jurgen uses his fullbacks and that part of the team kind of revolutionized a lot of how, not just Liverpool, but how a lot of fullbacks played the game in response to that. Andy Robertson, as a player for Liverpool, he'll probably definitely go down as one of the best fullbacks we've ever had. We have a couple of really good left backs, but ultimately, I think, at least for me, Andy Robertson is probably the best, man.
I think about where he is in his career and the stage of his career, and he kind of felt like it was coming that he was going to kind of sunset his time at Liverpool. As soon as Kirkaz was signed, you kind of knew okay, he's going to hand over the reins to Kirkaz.
The writing was on the wall a bit, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But, he was linked to fucking Spurs in January. It's the first fuck in the episode, by the way. And we're 3 minutes in, and I'm actually talking about Andy Robertson. Not actually talking about Liverpool yet, so plenty more to come at those. Yeah, he was a revolution, really, for us. Even from the point where he comes in, he replaces Moreno. Moreno was a nightmare for me. We had some good games, Alberto Moreno, but we definitely needed a replacement there. And Andy Robertson was the perfect archetypal Jurgen Klopp fullback. I think he's less productive in the later stage of his career with Liverpool. But there were a time where he was one of the... Actually, I think he held the record for assists in the Premier League for a little bit, Andy Robertson.
Wow.
For a defender. I think Trent beat him eventually, but he did have that. Amazing player, amazing leader for Liverpool as well. I think ultimately... Now we're going to miss the leader probably a bit more than we're going to miss the player. But what a loss. All I'm going to say really is I love Andy Robertson. Andy Robertson really embodies what it is to play for Liverpool Football Club for me. Passion, heart, full of commitment. One of my favourite moments of Andy Robertson, I think it was against Manchester City. The ball, it's really stupid actually, but the ball is cleared to their goalkeeper. And Andy Robertson probably presses 5 people. He presses every single one of the defenders that has the ball from left back. And you can tell how excited the Liverpool fans are getting as he goes from player to player. I think he almost wins it back as well, but they call it back for a foul. But Andy Robertson deserves all the praise he gets. I still think he's linked with Spurs. I think that's probably where he's going to end up. What do you make of that? I think, actually, from the Spurs perspective, at least from my perspective, I think they need some leaders, man.
I think they need some leaders. Obviously, I have my biases with Spurs. I think apart from that, though, like Andy Robertson has been such a integral part of winning matches for such a big team in the Premier League. It feels a little weird for him to go to another rival, quote unquote, in the Premier League, whether they're top six. But you know what? He might be a really good player in the Championship.
He might be the best player in the Championship, to be frank. Actually, at the time of recording, West Ham won at least their midday game for us, which is 8 p.m. in the UK, and Spurs actually sit in the relegation zone. So he has experience with that with Hull. He didn't actually get to. I'm not sure if he played in the Championship with Hull, but either way, he's gonna have to deal with it with Tottenham potentially. But no, from a Liverpool perspective, and as a Liverpool fan, all I can do is praise Andy Robertson and actually definitively say like how much I've loved watching him as a Liverpool player.
Yeah, I fully expect that if he goes to Tottenham and when he comes to Anfield, he will get a standing ovation.
He has to, yeah. I really think he has to, and it's not just him. It's Mo Salah too, like two of the biggest leaders we have in our squad leaving at the same time. I really hope that they get the send off they deserve at the end of the season. That's Andy Robertson. Anything else to add on?
Yeah, I mean, one more thing to add on Andy Robertson. If Andy, you're listening and you want to live in one of the greatest cities in the world, AFC needs a left back.
I mean, you could probably play anywhere, Andy. I'll be honest with you. I put you in midfield for SDFC. You could play pivot. Actually, I like Tverskov, but I mean, you could definitely help Tverskov in and around there. But
absolutely,
if you are listening to this, SDFC is a nice city. Rent's kind of high, but you're a millionaire already. Let's talk about it. Talk about it. That's the Andy Robertson chat. Let's get on to Southampton versus Arsenal then. So I wasn't watching this game directly, Ben, but what I would say is I was keeping track of the score. And when they go 1-0 up, in fact, when teams go 1-0 up against Arsenal, the games typically aren't as straightforward as you expect them to be.
Yeah, no, it really isn't. They go up 1-0, and it just feels like Arsenal kind of feel defeated. We talk about this a lot about like just the mentality that is required once you go through, but and also it takes the mentality to understand that you're going to win a game.
Yeah,
it just didn't feel like Arsenal was going to win the game at that point.
That is wild though, isn't
it? It is very wild. They are 26 places below you in the footballing table, in the English footballing table, 26 places below you. You should know that you can beat them, and you should go out and beat them.
I agree. Like, put on a show here.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're playing a championship side. Like, there's no reason this should be as close as it is.
Yeah.
But credit to Southampton. They, at least for me, especially the first half, they worked their fucking ass off to not concede goals here.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, like, talk me through some of the main points of the game and things that really stuck out to you throughout as the game progressed.
Yeah, I mean, in the lineup, right? Like when you look at it, we did have a lot of younger people. We didn't have Saka or Rice; they both were fully rested. Didn't even make the team sheet, which kind of expected. This is an FA Cup. It is a pretty big game, but we also have the depth, and we should be using the depth for this game. At the beginning of the match, I actually was kind of happy with how direct they were being. Arsenal were being a little earlier on. Dauman was playing on that right side, and he's coming more centrally and quicker than you would find Saka. Saka just kind of drifts out there and then like takes the defender to the byline and actually, stops the run halfway through the 18-yard and comes back. Noni takes him all the way to the byline or cuts through the middle. But Dauman was coming in a little earlier to receive the ball and kind of try to create something early on.
What I like about the way Dauman plays is he's a bit of a maverick. Yeah, actually, he picks up the ball and he's such a proficient dribbler.
Yeah.
I even saw it at times in the later game we're going to discuss in the Champions League, but he's just so good at picking up the ball and moving into space with it.
Yeah.
I think it causes a bunch of teams issues, especially when they think of the archetypal way to defend Arsenal.
Yeah.
He completely contradicts that, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and then once we get into set pieces, right, we don't have the delivery from Rice, and we don't have the delivery from Saka, and that requires Arsenal to be a bit more creative.
Yeah.
I've heard people complaining about why are Arsenal not just delivering the ball? Why are they dribbling it around? And honestly, they don't have the people to be able to deliver the ball right now. And I enjoyed some of the creativity around the set pieces that were coming. And, we'll talk about it later, but actually some of that creativity is seen again later on against Sporting. Because you are forced to play the game a little bit more and you can't rely on the delivery. Like the reason Arsenal are dangerous on those set pieces or have been dangerous on the set pieces because of how close the delivery is, whether that is bouncing off defenders and the keeper going in for an own goal, or it's just put on Gabriel's head or someone else's head, right? It was honestly like a pretty fun first 20 minutes of the half, and then Arsenal kind of get deflated. Southampton gets a bit more of the ball.
Just before half, don't you?
Yeah, and right before the half, Southampton get a goal. When you watch this run up, like Arsenal's relying heavily on the defense and saying like, yeah, come at us. We'll stop it.
It's fucking Southampton.
Yeah, and I get that, but like, I want them to press a little bit more. I know that Norgard was in there, but I want someone else. If I was thinking, if Rice was here and that ball was coming down the right side, or down Southampton's right side, our left side, Rice would have gone in to try to intercept that ball before it got all the way across and had that big switch over Ben. Ben White wasn't expecting that run in. He missed the ball, and the ball fell and was an easy shot onto Kepa. Kepa could have gotten down faster, but honestly, like it was a decent goal. The build up to the goal was fine. Arsenal kind of lost that goal because of just overall momentum switch.
What's funny to me, from what I can recall, you did have some decent chances in that half.
Oh yeah,
there was a chance from Jesus off of a corner that was just shocking. Honestly, like he's basically in the.
Yeah.
Give me a minute.
Oh yeah, I was just saying that.
He's basically like a fucking off a corner, pretty much in the 6-yard box, close to the 6-yard box.
Yeah,
and somehow catapults it wide.
Yeah.
0.21 xG. You got to do better there. Like as a striker, you got to get it on target. There's another chance as well from Martin Odegaard. I believe that was the ball was passed to him. He was kind of like in a box crashing situation.
Yeah.
And this is a 0.29 xG, and he misses it kind of on that left side, on the left side of the goal.
Yeah.
Mate, you got to be doing better here. But if you look at the shot map, and I encourage everyone else to do that, in the first half against a team like Southampton, the shot map is shocking.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's barely 4 shots on target with a total of 12 shots. All the shots that were on target were actually off to the right side of the goal.
Yeah.
Everything that's central is off target.
Yeah. That's the truth, really. Southampton have 4 shots in that half, 2 on target. Obviously, they create 2 big chances. I think one of the big chances must come from like a transition situation. So I don't know how they could ever class 2 of these as big chances, quite frankly.
Yeah.
At least the one big chance where Ross Stewart scores. Actually, a funny statistic about that. The XG of that chance is 0.55. What's the X score of that chance?
5-5.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Did you look at this?
It was open and I was looking at it.
You fucker. You fucker. But yeah, Arsenal go 1-0 down in the first half. How does the second half play out to you?
Arsenal came out indecisive and cautious in the second half, which isn't what I expect them to do. Like, Arsenal has usually taken advantage very early on in the second half, whether they're winning or not, to just get a quick goal in. And Southampton they brought the game to Arsenal. They started playing a higher press.
Yeah.
I think they're feeling confident after watching how City played them. And then they would transition very quickly into a low block. And so like that
very quickly.
And that game just kind of like continued going on overall. During that time, like I would say it's almost the momentum is with Arsenal initially, but then Southampton get momentum back. They almost kind of split momentum up into Arsenal's goal. Well, Arsenal's goal comes really right at the right time. Like, it was a really good pass from Gabby across to Havertz, and then like Havertz is very calm, gives like a very
composed cutback.
Yeah, composed cutback. He knew where Gyökeres was, like, and he put the ball in. Like, we had someone in the middle of the box who's gonna hammer the ball in.
I think it's a good finish by Gyökeres, actually.
Yeah.
If you put it into perspective, he has 2 defenders around him at the time, and the way he kind of shapes his body to put it in the bottom right, I think it's actually a decent finish.
Yeah. I mean, he's right in the middle. That's one of the shots that were taken right in the middle. It was a 0.26 xG. Are you looking at the X, Scott? You want to take a guess on it?
It has to be in the 90s, mate. Just because of where the keeper is at the time.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 0.92.
Okay, close. 0.95.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a 0.95 X, Scott. Yeah, keeper was on the other side. He had him wrong-footed. So
it's good
yeah,
finish.
Yeah, good finish overall. Yeah, and I think at that point you kind of think like, okay, like Arsenal, you have your first goal, go in and get your second goal.
Yeah.
Like maintain the momentum,
win the game.
And they kind of do maintain that momentum overall. But once again, there's a moment when that momentum switches off, where they let Southampton have the ball. Southampton, comes in really, really decisively more than anything else, and almost does the exact same thing where they are not defended in the midfield. No one is on them. The defenders kind of like play around, let them get through, and then another goal in the 85th minute, right at the end of the game. And at that point, as soon as that happens, like we've seen Arsenal at this point before, they can't get back into it. They do have all the momentum, but in the last few minutes of the game, they just can't pull it through.
Calafiori gets absolutely put on skates for that goal. I think it's Calafiori. He was playing left back at that time for you.
Yeah.
Guy kind of has it in the right channel, kind of feigns going inside. Calafiori or the left back shapes their body to go on the outside, and they get absolutely roasted.
Yeah.
Really simple cutback. Tidy ass finish though, man.
Yeah.
Like, that's a really good finish. Kind of like soft, but along the ground, so Raya can't get to it. But like I agree with you. Once it's 2-1, it's Kepa. Yeah, it's Kepa.
Yeah.
And that's another thing we should actually chat about as well. Good finish.
Yeah.
But once it hits 2-1, Arsenal don't really look like getting back into the game.
No, they don't. I mean, once it's 2-1, I think like Arsenal have kind of given up on the game.
Yeah.
Like they don't believe that they're gonna do much. And honestly, not much happens from that moment on. It really there is a free kick that Gyökeres has, but that will go straight into the wall. And then finally, Arsenal just don't have what it takes overall to get it.
The game ends 2-1, Arsenal at the FA Cup. Surprise win. Definitely what I would describe as an upset.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if we go back and we look at what we thought the game was going to be with our predictions last week.
I owe you $5, don't I?
You do owe me. If you remember, listeners, last week, Jack's like, I was like, you know what, there's going to be a goal. And Jack's like, no, there's not going to be a goal. Like, Arsenal's going to get a clean sheet. I guessed a 3-1. Jack guessed a 2-0 on this match, and then Jack said he'll give me $5 if Southampton gets more than 0.3 xG off of one shot. And I was like, yeah, I'll take that bet. Jack, what was that xG again on that first goal?
0.55. My defense, by the way, they don't do that again for the whole game.
This is very true.
I'm a little bit unlucky. In fact, if you look at the Arsenal shot map throughout the game, they create considerably better chances than Southampton.
Yeah.
But just struggle to put them away. As we've seen at times this season,
Yeah.
Let's get on to the other terrible game of the game week. Liverpool lose 4-0 to Manchester City at the Etihad. The note I have here is LFC are emptied at the Etihad. Do you like that?
Mm-hmm.
Get a bit into the lineup. So Liverpool, Gomez starts, which is actually a bit of a surprise to me. Curtis Jones starts, which is also a surprise to me. And Liverpool play this like a 4-2-2 system. The reason why they're consistently doing this, I think, is to get the most out of Mohamed Salah. I've said consistently that Mohamed Salah is not a touchline winger anymore. When you start Mohamed Salah, he has to play in like right half space areas, and he is ultimately in this situation. If you remember from a few weeks ago, we were what am I to tell Pep shit? But we were saying that Cherki should be starting for City week in, week out, and he did here. Silva and Rodri in the pivot positions, and Doku and Semenyo out wide. Terrifying for Liverpool, man.
Yeah.
It's like two ball carriers. Let's start for the first 30 minutes then. So I actually think Liverpool played quite well in that period. Liverpool do quite well at controlling the ball at times. Good interplay between Wirtz and Ekitike. I do have to say though, I see a bunch of fans saying we should have scored in that period. My question to them would be based on what? We have one good chance, and that chance is with Salah, where he basically receives the ball in the left side kind of half space inside the box, and he just hesitates. I've added like a visual for you there, Ben.
Yeah.
You can kind of see that situation. I'm not going to show it for you listeners because it's the jankiest thing I've ever seen. But essentially, Salah picks up the ball. Imagine he's facing the kind of like left side of the 6-yard box, I would say. All he needs to do really is hit the ball across his body on his left and hit it into the bottom right. He doesn't do it. He hesitates. I think you can see a lack of confidence there from Mohamed Salah. He tries to adjust to try and get kind of like an optimum body position on it. and the defender does extremely well to close him down. I think it's Matheus Nunes.
Yeah.
Does really well to get across, and that's Liverpool's best chance of the game, in my opinion. Aside from the penalty that Mohamed Salah misses in the second half.
Yeah.
But really, from there, like as a Liverpool fan, you're feeling a bit hard done by.
I mean, if you're Mo, right? You have the keeper who's very, very low. Like, instead of going across your body, bang it in top, right? Like, just go.
Put your laces through it.
Yeah. And I'm saying that as an amateur here, but like I think like when you see people shifting their body, taking an extra touch, that's definitely an idea. They are not comfortable enough. They want to assure the goal rather than just taking the chance. And yeah, I think that was a missed opportunity early on.
The argument I have against that, though, is the idea of the reason I think he takes time to adjust is because he's low on confidence.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, he's not just going to blam it with full confidence. I think the reason he hesitates is because he isn't sure that he can get the shot off with that specific body positioning. Either way, though, ends up fucking spraying it wide. And Liverpool concede a really silly penalty after that.
Yeah.
Ball is played into the box. I would say O'Reilly does extremely well in the sense that I think Van Dijk thinks he's going to take the ball in his stride, but take it on the strong side foot.
Yeah.
He lets the ball run across him, and Van Dijk just comes into him and absolutely cleans him out, man. Cleans him out. Stonewall penalty. I can't even argue about that. Emphatically scored by Erling Haaland. And I hate to say it, but once it goes 1-0, I think the Liverpool players, I'm not going to say they give up at 1-0, but you can tell their heads drop at 1-0.
Yeah.
However, at 2-0, Ben, they certainly give up. As a fan, right, once you go 1-0 down just before half, don't concede again.
It's not even that. It's just play some smart football.
And they don't. Liverpool don't play smart football.
Yeah.
Nunes has a bunch of space on the right side, inside Liverpool's shape. We are so hesitant to press him inside the shape as well. Passes the ball to Cherki, basically has an overload on Kirkes with Semenyo. Just doesn't react fast enough on his man, who is overlapping. Semenyo then picks up the ball. Van Dijk forced across to deal with it. And when you are one-on-one with Erling Haaland, you have to be willing to react quickly in movements into space. And Konate doesn't read it fast enough. I would say, though, that header is sublime. It is such a great header. It's like the type of cross is like quite I'm not going to call it a flat cross because obviously in the air, but he doesn't need to jump for it. He can just meet it with the trajectory he's going at. And he just turns his head to face where he wants to put it. It's a great finish.
Yeah.
But ultimately 2-0. I'm not going to just tell you the game is over. Liverpool players give up. And Van Dijk says after the game, we gave up. That is indicative of a team that has absolutely no confidence. And the second half doesn't go much different then.
Yeah, I think when you go into a cup tie 2-0 down, especially against a team that on paper and historically, in recent history at least, has been more successful in cup ties, and just generally has been a bit more successful, it's really hard to turn that back on.
Yeah.
Right. But at the same time, you are the champions. You just won the league. Like, you have what it takes. Yes, you may be losing some of the pieces that were there last year, but you should know that you can come back at that point.
Like where's your what's the term? Like where's your mentality? Like your winner's mentality?
Yeah.
And throughout most of this season, Ben, that's been eroded. They don't have that anymore. Liverpool have broken the record for losing goals in the last minutes of games. That mentality is no longer with the team. And you can see it as it goes into the second half. Liverpool concede really early after the second half starts. Kind of both pivots being really bad at cutting off those inside lanes, which is like the most dangerous part of any structure, right? That's your main aim in terms of like a block.
Yeah.
Please do not let them pass through the middle. Cherki finds space in the hole, kind of slightly behind them. Receives the ball on a turn as kind of Semenyo makes this diagonal run behind Van Dijk. He picks it up on the left channel of the box. And I'd say Mamardashvili, he does well in recognizing where Semenyo is going, but he overcommits to one side. And Semenyo could he doesn't even chip him because it doesn't go over him. He's basically like dinking it in the air, but to the side. It goes in 3-0, and it's calamity, man.
Yeah.
It really is calamity.
Yeah, just looking at when these goals happen, 49, 45, 50, I know I haven't talked the fourth one yet, but 57. But what Liverpool have really done is condense the periods in which they are attacking and scoring goals. You see it. It's right at the end of the first half. It's right at the beginning of the second half. It's very similar to what happened in Arsenal at the Carabao Cup. The goals were so close and were very similar.
Yeah.
Like, it was very, like, if you look at the entire game, that is kind of what Pep's doing in his overall structure of the game.
Yeah.
He's saying, these are the moments we score the goals. These are the moments we sit back and we do whatever else we want to do.
The thing that's really evident to me is they're not really aggressive pressing us when they, at the start of the game, City, they hold that like 4-2-4 shape like they were playing against Arsenal.
Yeah.
As soon as it goes 1-0, man, they are dogs against us.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can tell that's because Pep has basically said to them, these guys are frail.
Yeah.
If they go 1-0 down, you have a chance to quickly score another one, and they did.
Yeah.
They score a third in the 49th minute. And from my perspective, like, we see consistent situations throughout most of the season from the Liverpool side where they're just happy with players running and running and running.
Mm-hmm.
You should never, it's so indicative of a team situation when you see a player pick up the ball and consistently can run 30 yards inside your shape.
Yeah.
It's just a complete lack of intensity, like zonal coverage. Like, someone has to stop this guy, and they don't. And it happens consistently throughout this game. I would say, though, one of the big things for me is when Liverpool are able to beat the first line of the City press, and they do it quite a lot in that second half, they are able to move the ball through the passing lanes quite well. And before Mo misses the penalty, he has a pretty good chance to score. A tremendous through ball from Ryan Gravenberch. It basically takes 5 players out of the game. Tremendous through ball. Mo picks it up in that like quintessential right half space in the box, and he just scuffs it. 0.23 XG, 0.83 XGOT. The XGOT is way higher than it should be, man.
Yeah.
Because of the nature of the shot, it's not hitting up with enough velocity at all. And it's just an easy save for Donnarumma. Getting to the last goal before the pain. The VVD, really slow to recognize that Haaland is running across him to occupy space. Really left from Konate to press the ball player.
Yeah. Just looking at the ball, like at VVD's like shape, he is perpendicular to the goal, which is kind of where you want your defender, so you can turn and run really well. But Haaland is definitely in his blind side, and VVD is just kind of moving more centrally rather than keeping an eye on Haaland, and getting his ability to turn around and chase it.
But where that goal fails for me, Ben, is the lead up to that goal. I've added another super janky graphic on here that you can probably see. And what I encourage you guys to do is I want you to look at how City play out from the back on that goal.
There are 3 runners in blind spots.
Yes. But why are there blind spots?
Exactly.
So O'Reilly basically just runs off the back of fucking Jones.
Yeah. Basically
exploits this massive gap in the midfield. But it comes down to how Liverpool decide to press from the front. It's super disjointed.
Yeah.
Runs off the blind side. The ball is played into that huge gap. And from there, Semenyo makes a kind of like a beautiful... Actually, it might be Doku.
I think that's Doku.
Doku run. He makes this beautiful kind of inside run that makes Konate like really hesitate, I would say. And the reason why he hesitates from there is because he's running from outside to inside, comes on that inside channel, and it's just the easiest finish for Haaland. For a player based on his quality, if he picks up the ball in those areas a lot in the box, he's going to score goals, and he did, and it's 4-0. Yeah. And ultimately, like, from my perspective, if I was to give a final verdict for that game, disastrous performance. I would say that's the worst performance of the season for me. And we've lost some kind of games against worse opponents. But for me, the reason why that's the worst game of the season is you see the players give up. They lack intensity really throughout the game. We start well, but we don't create enough in that period really to say we genuinely deserve to be on top.
Yeah.
And the manager's under serious pressure. We go into the PSG game needing a result. We don't get it either. We'll get into that in a minute. That's the game, really, the FA Cup game. In the next round, Chelsea, West Ham, City, and who's the fourth? Southampton, yeah. Basically giving Man City a domestic double right there, at least for me. Yeah. Let's get into Sporting versus Arsenal then.
Yeah, I mean, Arsenal come out of 2 back-to-back defeats in cup matches in Carabao Cup against City, and then what we just talked about against Southampton in the FA Cup. And they really need to show up against Sporting. Sporting isn't quite a bogey team, I would say, but they have caused some issues in the past. But going into this period of matches, we were talking about how how Arsenal faced Sporting, Bournemouth, and City kind of in the same sequence-ish in 2023. And so I think right now it was time for Arsenal to come back, recover, and say, like, okay, you know what? We have lost 2 in a row, but we still have a strong foothold and we can come into the run-in. Going in the lineup, Odegaard was back in the team. California and White are both starting in the fullback positions. Tapia was injured in their international break, and Timber actually was injured right before the international break. I was expecting it to be a 4-3-3 transition to 4-5-3, and obviously in the final a 3-3-5. That's just what Arsenal's been playing. There have really been major surprises from Sporting's lineup, or even any of there were really no like significant injuries going on to them. But yeah, I think Sporting got the message. They got the message that Arsenal can be broken down if you just attack them. Like, you don't need to sit back. Like, when you get the ball, go at them. And they take those risks very early on. Out of possession, they are really condensed. And they're forcing Odegaard really to jump back and play a little deeper and try bring the ball forward. Now, this is what was missing against City. We didn't have that player who would drop back in, have confidence to take the ball and then progress it past the forward line, City's forward line. But Odegaard really stopped dropping in that DM position to progress the ball. In the 6th minute, he manages to drop back in, get the ball, and then lose it immediately, very early on in the game. And then there was that other moment in the 11th minute of the game when he's just playing, passing back and forth to Rice. Rice is telling him, like, hey, turn and run. He's just passing it back and forth, and really, like, was he waiting for a bounce pass? Was he trying to turn the tempo up? I just couldn't tell. Overall,
I think it's just a lack of impetus to drive forward with the ball.
Yeah, it was very much control, and we've talked about this, right? Like, Arteta wants control. Odegaard is Arteta's man. And throughout the match, like, if you watch Odegaard, and I like to watch individual players as I watch games and rewatch them, you will see Odegaard telling everyone to calm down, pass the ball back. And that is very much direction of control and stuff like that. And you actually see later on how Declan just wants to ignore what Odegaard says, and he will progress the ball himself. He will either make a pass down the left side of the pitch where Odegaard isn't, or he'll take the ball and he will just run the ball, drive it through. Yeah. There's moments when he gets the ball in the back left hand of the pitch, he literally runs past Odegaard, it goes to the top right, and then switches play himself. To kind of show, like, this is what we're supposed to be doing.
I think for me, like, maybe we should talk about this. Like, what do you think of the future of Odegaard in this team? Like, honestly.
I mean, it's hard to say. I thought that he would be a bit more aggressive now that we have a bit more, like, now that we have Zubimendi in the team, right? We have someone strong like that. I was expecting Odegaard to become a bit more attacking, being able to play those balls through, and really cut those lines so that the team can then have some good action in the end. Like, if you think about Odegaard of 22, 23, right? He was getting the ball, he was passing it through, he was progressing the ball really well, he was very direct.
That's the reason I, like, started really rating him as a player.
Exactly.
Was because, again, though, he's picking up the ball in those zone 14 areas a lot of the time. But it was also, the coaching instruction was to play the ball quickly through the lines. Now, the instruction, I don't know if it's surprising to you guys, that's not the case anymore. No. I think Odegaard, the really weird thing for me is, I think from an archetypal central attacking midfield, I think the archetype of what Arsenal need in the team really isn't Odegaard anymore. I think Eze he's more what you'd want to create chances consistently in the team. And quite frankly, he hasn't done that a lot of times. But when you sign Zubimendi as a pivot, in fact, when you consistently play a pivot, you guys build in a 4-2 almost the whole time.
Yeah.
Use those pivot players to help build the ball. Martin, you're useless if you're falling into your own third to pick up the ball, to progress the ball. You should be using the pivot players. You should be picking up the ball in dangerous areas, but he doesn't. He consistently drops back. And I don't know. I know that's instruction. I know it's instruction, but it's counterintuitive to attacking the goal.
Odegaard will, when you watch him, he'll get into the middle of the box, like the midfield box, right?
Yeah.
The 4-player box. He'll get into the middle. He'll kind of stand there right in the middle of the box.
Yeah.
And he doesn't do anything to, like, condense the box and break it. What I would expect him to do, in what I imagine would work, is get a little closer to one of the players, show that you're getting for the ball, have them commit to you, come in, turn around, and then create that space and go through.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's what I want Odegaard to be doing, whether it's to the right or to the left, depending on what the overall shape is. And I think he's so focused on that, don't concede the ball, hold the ball, that he sometimes forgets that there are people around him to help actually progress the ball. I think there's another part of that too. I think we do like to play it really wide, and what I do appreciate happening in this game was Trossard was this kind of free man who was switching between.
I know.
You come in and support. And I think if we had some more of that, you could play some of those bounce passes, get through that midfield, and then get it to the players at the end.
I actually think he used Trossard like that quite a lot.
Yeah.
His ability, obviously, with close control, pretty good at dealing with the ball in tight spaces. I think he's really adept at dropping into midfield and picking up the ball.
Yeah.
That's how I would use him.
Yeah.
Like, leave the dangerous players who can play incisive passes higher up the pitch. Use the guys that are good at taking the ball in stride and turning on the ball to drive forward and then create attacks. But ultimately, it doesn't make much of a difference throughout the first half. Not a lot happens in that first half. It's
one thing that does happen is an incredible save. Early on in the 6th minute of the game, Rujo gets the ball in behind from a great pass. Like, this is the kind of run.
Is that the tip onto the bar?
Yeah, that's the tip on the bar. These are the kinds of runs, this bended run that Victor Gyökeres was doing all last year and the year before for Sporting. They still have that in their box, and it gets delivered into Rujo's path. He gets to the end of the ball, he hits it, and David Raya just like
phenomenal save.
Glances it up. Just a great reaction save, and like that, I think keeps Arsenal in the first half. Before we get into it,
how do you think Arsenal react if they go 1-0 down there
in this game?
Yeah,
away from home, I don't think they would have won it if they went 1-0 down away from home here.
The ability to hold on to the scoreboard, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, going in the second half, Declan, he actually progresses up, plays a little bit more centrally, and he has kind of a left back pivot with Calafiori. Anytime Calafiori comes out, Declan does go back in. But what also happens is Trossard kind of plays a little higher as well during that time. I think in the first half, where Arsenal were being high pressing on every single ball out of the back, because Sporting was really trying to play out of the back. They do less of that. Calafiori does cheat up further and creates more of a 5 at the top. I mean, Calafiori, man, he's everywhere. He is an agent of chaos in this game. People don't know where he's going to be.
It's funny you say that, actually, because if I put a little bit of my nerdy head on, I'm looking at a lot of these chances that Arsenal concede, and it's down that right channel.
Yeah.
And if I look at how Calafiori's average position is, he is everywhere. Predominantly, kind of course, like he actually gets probably more touches than most fullbacks would in those positions. But it is just spots of everywhere, inside, like up the pitch in the final third. But like, I think you need fullbacks like that, especially how you guys want to create rotations in wide areas. I think fullbacks need to be able to do that when they play for Arsenal.
Yeah, and opposed to Ben White's heat map, right? He has like these 2 hot spots, right, in Arsenal's own, and then in the attacking right line, sticking a little closer towards the line. And that kind of gives a bit more space for players like Calafiori to run through and create a bit more chaos. But that does make the pitch tilt a little bit more towards the right side.
Like the way I like to describe it is, traditionally in football, they play on a rope. So like, it's really difficult to explain this. So I apologize if I butcher this, guys. But imagine someone on one side of the rope pulls up. It's the job from the other side of the rope to pull downwards, so you maintain shape. And I think Arsenal do that pretty well across the stage of this game. What are the standout things that happen in the second half, and how would you say the second half goes as a whole?
I think Arsenal are a bit more creative in the second half than they were in the first half. The first kind of 15 minutes of the second half, there is just kind of a back and forth, not really a lot of control. In the 64th minute, Zubimendi had that amazing shot. It went in the back of the net.
Yeah.
It was called offside. It was offside. Gabby recovers the ball in the midfield, and whenever Big Gabby gets the ball, I kind of get nervous because I feel like he's just going to boot it really far. He's not going to make the right pass. but he actually sees Gyökeres coming in through channel right between 14 and 13 and the 14-13 zones, and he passes it right to him. He then lays it off to, I believe it was Ben White, who then gives it to Zubimendi, and Zubimendi has a great curler.
Yeah,
and
really
that was a really beautiful finish. I'm mad at Gyökeres for being offside there.
Here's the question though: I'll have to watch that back.
Yeah.
But does it touch Gyökeres?
Well, no, he receives the ball. So Gyökeres is in offside position. He receives the ball and lays it off to Ben White.
And he lays it back off, and then it comes back. He just needs to be onside.
Yeah, it wasn't that he was in. When I first saw it, I was
slow
like,
to get back onside.
He was slow to get back onside. I was like, Gyökeres, you have to get back onside for that.
Definitely.
And the thing between him and Gabby Jesus, right, is I would actually expect Gabby Jesus to be on that onside position and would have done almost the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So that was really good. 20th minute, Havertz goes off for Odegaard, and honestly, we become so much more direct at that point.
I noticed that too.
As soon as Havertz comes on, he's had a good link up with Gyökeres. He had that great link up with Gyökeres in the midweek, which is how we got a goal against. The previous week is how we got our goal against Southampton, right? So I was like, all right, something can happen here. And then so in the 75th minute, there's another chance for Trossard and Madueke. In the 75th minute, Trossard comes off and Madueke comes off, and Martinelli and Dowman come on, and now we have these low touch, direct
dribblers,
right? Yeah. And as soon as Max Dowman gets on the pitch, Max Dowman is like what Saka coming into that right midfielder or that right wing position 4 years ago was.
Yeah.
Like as explosive, as just like fun to watch because you see all of these things happening. And the game just opened up a little bit more.
Honestly, I think for me as well, when Noni Madueke comes on, he comes on kind of late in the game, at 76th minute. He draws 3 fouls almost immediately.
Yeah.
Because he's going to drive at you. You know, that's the way he plays football. And I think ultimately the changes you make with the idea of, okay, we're going to try and run into space a bit more and try and utilize that. Yeah. And ultimately that's where the goal comes from. Yeah,
absolutely. Right before we get to the goal, there is another incredible save by Raya.
Which one was that?
83rd minute. There's like a low, the man beats Calafiori.
See, I don't think that's a great save. Can I explain why?
Go ahead, and I'll explain why I think it is after.
He is really far to his left post. In fact, I would say if that goes in, he beats him at his near post along the ground.
Yeah.
He has to save that.
I think the reason I think is a great save when I was watching it back is because when he takes the shot, Big Gabby is right in his way. And that's why I was like, how did he see that ball?
It's a bit of a reaction save.
It was a very much reaction save. And it was like he knew where he was going to shoot. And it's the mindset of a keeper of knowing where to be and where the ball's going to go. And that's why it's a good save. Not because it was a hard one to make.
And I would actually say that. So the idea that he positions himself where he positions himself because of where the ball is oriented is why that's a good save. It's not so much the save itself.
Exactly.
But it's the idea of where to be and where the guy has position to shoot. So I think that's actually fair.
And that's why I was like, how, my note was like, how did he see that ball? And it's like, me as a person who isn't as attuned as in football as Raya is, I wouldn't have made that. I would have been like, oh, Gabby's got this. But he knew that if this guy's gonna go around, I have to get down and save this ball.
Definitely,
and then after that, space opens up. We get into injury time, and oh man, at this point, I'm just like, get something. Declan goes out to the left. There's a very heavy overload on the left side. Martinelli picks up the ball, and as soon as he starts cutting inside, I'm like, something's gonna happen here. Yeah. The midfielder who was on Kai peels off and moves to Martinelli to shut down the ball. Gyökeres makes a run in, pulling both keepers off. Martinelli delivers it perfectly. Kai traps the ball perfectly, knows where the keeper is, and literally just passes it in. It was a good finish.
The run by Gyökeres there for me. Yeah. He takes essentially two players out of the game by that run. Really, really good third man runner. And that's what we mean by you don't need to be on the ball to impact games.
Exactly.
And you want to see more of that from him, really, in those positions.
Yeah, the game ends for the next minute and a half of injury. I call it squeaky. Everyone calls it squeaky bum time. I was like, please just get it. Just get it out. Just get it out.
So you said to me it was a smash and grab.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a smash and grab.
Yeah.
I explained why to you, didn't I? Mainly because I don't think they create enough quality chances throughout the day, Sporting. I think you can, throughout most of the time, you keep them at arm's length. Like, imagine that picture of like a big brother holding back his little brother.
Yeah.
That's basically what happens for most of the game. Arsenal don't create enough throughout the game. And quite frankly, offensively are poor throughout the game. I don't think you do enough offensively. But in that 90th minute, in fact, really when the subs come on, it turns up.
Yeah.
And you could see the difference in what your squad can do from sub to sub.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it turns from what would be like a result into it's a pretty good result.
Yeah, no. So I totally agree with you. When I first watched that game, I was like, "That's a smash and grab." The game was on a Tuesday midday. Tuesdays are like my big call busy day, so I just kind of had it in the background. Every single time I glanced at the screen that the game was on, all I saw was like these long balls over the top, and Sporting like running down the side. I'm like, how are we allowing all these chances? And then I sat down and watched the game. I was like, oh. Yeah, this is a very boring, non-smash and grab Arsenal kind of game where they had the impetus to be able to create what needed to happen last minute.
That's exactly how I would outline it as well.
Yeah.
Good result, really, going into the Emirates.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's much more really to add on that.
No, I mean, honestly, like it was not a pretty win, but they dug it out. It's what championships side teams need to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Sporting in this game lost the match due to fear of not trying something different. They kept doing the same thing over and over again. Yeah, it was one of the more predictable, boring games of the week. There was a lot of other actions happening in a lot of the other Champions League games, and I think we can switch over to one of those.
Let's talk about PSG versus Liverpool then.
Yeah.
So the opening statement I would make about this game is I've genuinely never seen Liverpool look so inferior against a team in a Champions League match. This PSG team is, for me, the best team in Europe. On the ball, easily. The way they rotate, the way each of their players are like adept to playing a bunch of different positions, they school us. It honestly reminds me of when Liverpool in 13-14, we come second after years and years of not being in the Champions League. And Brendan Rodgers, Liverpool, rock up to Anfield and play Real Madrid, and we get absolutely battered. Like, we don't look like we should be on the same pitch as them. And that's what it reminds me of. Talk about lineups and shape, because it's kind of important for this game. Frimpong starts, Salah is benched, and Isak is back on the bench.
Salah doesn't come off the bench in this game, right?
He stays on the bench the whole time. And I think the reason the manager does that ultimately is because off the ball, he's not particularly good. This is an off the ball game.
Yeah.
Ultimately. At this stage in his career, he's not what we really want off the ball. PSG, no Fabian Ruiz, which is big for them. No Fabian Ruiz, which is huge for them. He's kind of like the steel in their midfield.
Yeah.
But they play Zaire Emery, who is a genius of a footballer. He reminds me a lot of the profiles that they have already. Like, really, really tremendous in space. But he's also physical enough to be really combative off the ball. And then, luckily enough for us in that game, Barcola wasn't fit, so he didn't make the bench. Let's get into shape. So Liverpool do something completely out of the left field then. Not seen it the whole season. But for some reason, Arne in this game decides, what team do we want to introduce a completely new shape against? Oh, let's do that against the most rotational team in football. Let's try that. So Liverpool play 5-2-3 then. Frimpong, Virgil, Konate, Gomez, and Kirkes. Gomez essentially plays like furthest left centre-back. Van Dijk plays in the middle, Konate's on the right, and Frimpong's at right wing-back, Kirkes is at left wing-back. Gravenberch and McAllister are the two in midfield, and Virt, Szoboszlai, and Ekitike are playing up front. Now, Ekitike's role essentially is to be an outball throughout that game. And he was fucking awful at it. It might be the worst game I've ever seen from him, quite frankly. Gets a lot of the ball up high, but mate, do the simple stuff. Like, we're obviously fucking suffering here. Just lay it off to someone. The problem is there's no one around him. The other guy that's around him is being fucking harried by 5 PSG players.
Yeah.
So it's like, what the hell is he supposed to do? So he's doing all these like stupid flicks. The ball's going out for throw-ins, and it's just like, please, for the love of God, do something productive with the ball. So out of possession, they like to use this like 4-5-1, like mid to low block. They're not the most aggressive team once teams progress into the second phase. Fortunately for them, we very rarely can build up from the back. So essentially the aim is to shut out central space. They press extremely aggressively when Liverpool like build out. it is not like what you see in the Premier League nowadays with one extra man at the back. Is no. We're getting the ball back up here.
Yeah.
I should have picked up their PPDA stats because I think they'd be nuts for that game. Honestly, I do.
Yeah.
But it's like a relational pressing structure. It reminds me of Jurgen's Liverpool. The idea of we are not playing space, we are playing the ball player.
Yeah.
Our aim is to steal the ball up high and create chances up high. The way I worded it in my notes is like gegenpressing-esque. Like the idea of winning the ball back for the idea of creating attacks versus winning the ball backs to recycle it and play again. And they do an incredible job of that, honestly, throughout the game. They do really, really well. This is the closest team for me. And I put in my notes, this might be like over-glazing. This is the closest team I've seen to Pep's 2010 Barca team. The way they play with the ball is so unique. They're not physical. They're not big. They don't have a bunch of strength. Their understanding of how the manager wants them to play and how they create chances in open play is genuinely excellent. You watch it, and it is, honestly, it's the worst I've seen Liverpool play all season.
Yeah.
In a game like that, like where we set up to defend, because they are so good in specific phases of the game. So PSG in possession, their structure is like, it's kind of nuts. I was watching it. I'm typically good at reading this stuff. There are so many rotations constantly. Mate, Hakimi ends up on the left wing. And you can see players literally crossing over each other.
Yeah.
Crossing over each other. Liverpool on like this man-to-man system in most of the game. And you can see Liverpool players literally doing this, trying to track their runners. It is nuts. Neves and Vitinha did a great job of like dropping deep, picking up the ball. Always that. They always have an extra man dropping into that pivot, like ready to pick up the ball and turn. When Liverpool choose to press high, they just laugh at it. Marquinhos, I don't look at any of their centre-backs as particularly great ball players, but the ability for them to kind of read where the player is in space and beat the press of the opposition for me is crazy. And it's done through Neves and Vitinha understanding where to drop and find that space in the midfield. And especially because of that Liverpool like front three structure, Dominic was essentially playing a false nine, trying to get the ball off of the two centre-backs. As soon as it would go wide, Wirtz would push wide. But what you want then from a pressing structure is you want the whole team to follow them. And that doesn't happen really throughout the whole of the day. And Vitinha is able to pick up the ball consistently in space. Overall, just immense movement throughout the whole of the pitch. The way they rotate pretty much throughout the pitch. It's not just their forwards, like the way their fullbacks rotate, the way their midfielders rotate, the way their striker rotates. It's honestly nuts. And it's really hard to keep tabs on, especially Anna, when you're playing a new fucking system. I just think it's absurd. Let's get into the game. I had to glaze them a little bit first. I think Liverpool do really well for the first 20. We defend our box extremely well. They don't create a bunch of chances in the first 20, but ultimately what ends up happening is through rotations, Doué kind of drops really deep, and Ibu and Jeremy Frimpong are pulled out because of that. What ends up happening is he creates like a third-man run combination with Vitinha, and then eventually Liverpool essentially like, fuck this, we need to retreat.
Yeah.
So they retreat into their box. They're in like I call it like a legit deep block at this stage.
Yeah.
But what they don't know how to do is, even if they have players around the ball, because of those responsibilities, it's like, okay, which one of us needs to put the foot in it? And it doesn't happen. Doué hits the ball, it hits off of one of our players' asses, loops right over Mamadashvili, and it's one of those, like, do you know those big looping deflections?
Yeah.
Where it almost lands in the bottom of the goal.
Yeah. It barely misses the top, like the crossbar, and then like gets right between. Like I watched this go in, and I was like, man, that is just so unlucky. Like it was just one of the most unlucky like ways to concede a goal when you try to do all you can to actually close out the player.
I'm not even going to go through all of the chances that PSG create in this game, because like I could be talking for an hour about the chances they create in this game. But a bunch of times in the first half, they were able to just pull us apart. Essentially with, I'm not even going to say simple, because they're not simple. It's like these intricate rotations where specific players run deep, they know we're man-to-man, and they use that kind of like aggressive man-to-man press to create third-man runs into space, and it causes havoc all day. Dembele should end up with 4 goals, mate.
Yeah.
This is their fucking Ballon d'Or winning.
Yeah.
We are lucky to get away at 1-0, like going into halftime. I'm serious.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, well, shit. They only create one big chance in the first half. They get 8 shots, 4 shots on target. They actually only have 13 touches in our box, which doesn't surprise me because a lot of those situations is we're defending our box quite well.
Yeah.
But
you have 5 people on the back, so
Yeah.
you're defending your box pretty
exactly.
well. Yeah.
But the reason, why do they... Actually, let me get into this quickly before we get into the second half. Why do you think they play a 5 at the back?
I mean, I think what they were trying to do is they're trying to play the counter and have the wingers go up as quickly as possible.
Yes, there's another big aspect to this, and it's the idea of dealing with wide rotations.
Okay.
You essentially have covering players constantly if you play a 5 at the back.
Yeah.
And that's what they were doing. The difference is their rotations aren't normal rotations, because Kavicha would be like, fuck this, let's go into midfield. So he'll drop into midfield in a position he shouldn't be, and then Frimpong is like, should I go with him? Shouldn't I go with him? Creates a seed of doubt in your mind. And that's why ultimately the shape, although I understand where Arne is coming from, it doesn't work because Liverpool don't know how to deal with the rotations basically throughout the whole of the game.
Yeah.
We get into the second half then. Have you seen what PSG do off kickoffs?
Kickoffs.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
They basically just, the ball kicks off and they launch it for our goal kick.
Yeah.
Basically saying, hey, play out.
Yeah.
Come on. I know you really want to play out.
Well, I mean, last year they would try to kick it for like a throw-in in the opposition half, and now it's just like, yeah, you know what? Let's just take it to the next level.
Exactly.
Like, go ahead.
But we don't get baited into that, and we play it long instead. I'd say Liverpool for about 10 minutes in that second half, they inject a bit more intensity into the way they play. I think Liverpool are actually okay for the first bit, but ultimately, I think the story of the game and the way we are playing in possession is we are really hurt by the lack of actual output.
Yeah.
Liverpool didn't need Ekitike in this game, Ben. They needed Darwin Núñez in this game. That's what they needed.
Yeah.
They needed someone to push their back line backwards. But Marquinhos and Pacho were like, oh, Ekitike just wants to play the ball. He wants the ball to feet. He wants to trap the ball, and he wants to do something once he has the ball. He's not a guy that receives the ball in space, and it shows in this game.
Yeah.
It really, really hurts us. There's this one situation, actually, where McAllister basically heads the ball directly to Kvaratskhelia,
Yeah.
and Kavita does amazing with it, honestly. Like, he drives deep into the box, gives the ball to Mendes on an overlap, and Dembele should score.
Yeah.
Like, he should score. I'm curious to see what the XG of that chance is, but there's no way, from my perspective, that the Ballon d'Or winner doesn't score in that half. And let me look at that. It's a 0.31 XG chance, and he skies it completely over the bar.
Yeah.
In fact, on the day, Ousmane Dembele, let's actually look here. I bet the stat is absolutely crazy.
It's a
on the
0.5
day,
XG.
Dembele doesn't score, and actually only 0.5 XG.
Yeah.
So maybe we're being a bit harsh, but yeah, maybe we're being a bit harsh.
I will say in this game, Dembele also played this role where he sat back a little deeper and he actually progressed the ball.
This is what he does. So what he does is he waits for pivot players to commit in a press. And what he'll do is he'll literally run in between the pivot players. And you're terrified because he picks it. Basically, if he's going to pick up the ball in that scenario, he's picking up the ball in space.
And
How
with
many
pace.
times? Let me try and think of the game last season. It's actually against Arsenal.
Yeah.
The amount of times he drops really deep to pick up the ball.
Yeah.
And because you're man-to-man, you don't know whether to go with him or not. And when he is on the ball, you don't only see a bunch of runners, but you see a bunch of people wanting to play off of him. And honestly, it is so difficult to stop.
If we call a player a pivot player, I'd almost call him an axis player.
I like that. Yeah, I like that.
Like there's passes around him. I mean, he creates this central axis that goes through the middle of the pitch, right? And people want to come off of him, play off of him, so that they can get an opportunity or do a bounce pass directly back to him into his path.
I encourage you guys, if you are ever bored, to look at the heat maps of their forwards. It's honestly ridiculous, like where they are and where they take up space on the pitch.
Yeah.
From 55 to 60, the game is bananas. And I think it's because they adjust to what we're trying to do to them, and it's just simply end to end, like punch after punch after punch. Eventually, they manage to cool the game down a bit. But once they cool the game down a bit, I think their fullbacks start to get a little bit more joy. And the amount of times I see Liverpool at times are playing a back six. Like a midfielder would drop into the back line because we're basically playing a low block. And the ease of which they can just play through a back six is wild. Let's get into the goal then. Szoboszlai essentially, so I've heard a bunch of people blame Gravenberch for this. I think they're both kind of to blame. but Szoboszlai ignores a run directly through the middle of the pitch. Kavica does something really intelligently where he runs super deep to combine with Mendes on that left side, but he doesn't run forward straight away as the ball has progressed. He kind of like, you know what I mean, like, kind of prances behind the play to see what happens.
Yeah.
Once he realized Szoboszlai, it's like, oh, you're not chasing me anymore?
Yeah.
Like, I have no man on me. That should be Frimpong's, like, deal. He's his man marker. Again, the players cross themselves, and Kavica is like, shit. There's space right over there. Like, you jump Frimpong out, and it's the easiest situation. Kavica just picks up the ball, and that left side half space, drives. I'd say he takes it past two players, but it takes it past how Arjen Robben takes it past, if he knows what I mean. Mamardashvili comes out to pick up the ball, gets dusted because it's Kavica, and then 2-0. At 2-0, my mentality is we do one of two things. We get one back and shut up shop, or we just shut up shop straight away. Do not concede again.
Yeah.
Because what we cannot have in this tie, and where I'll give credit to them, in fact, I'm not going to give any credit to Liverpool. Where I'll give credit to PSG in favour of Liverpool is you miss a bunch of chances on the day, and now we have a chance at Anfield. But the last thing I want to call out, like actually in the game state, is the challenge of Konate against Zaire Emery. It is, I think, the best tackle I've seen all season. Zaire Emery picks up the ball in probably the most dangerous area you could think of. It's basically, imagine where the 6-yard box is. It's literally right in front of the 6-yard box. He turns, and Konate, it's actually given as a penalty initially. Konate comes through the back of him, basically, and octopuses his legs round to win the ball.
Yeah.
Like, complete last-ditch challenge. It's a tremendous tackle.
Yeah.
But
there's the man going through the man to get the ball, and this is ball first, 100%, and then he made contact with the man after.
But you can see on it, once we go 2-0 down, the game settles down a bit, and he's like, okay, now I can start to make subs.
Yeah.
Gakpo comes on for Wirtz, Isak comes on for Ekitike, Jones comes on for Szoboszlai, and Robertson comes on for Kirkis. So at 78th minute, he makes a quadruple change. How many touches in the game do you think Alexander Isak gets, Ben?
I'm not going to look at the stat. I'm going to say 3. 78th minute, 3. Right?
Yeah, 3.
Was it 3?
Alexander Isak gets 3 touches in the game when he comes on. Like I said, Salah doesn't even come on. I'll read you the stats at the end of the game. So the second half stats, PSG generate 1.54 XG, 10 shots, 2 shots on target. So Liverpool prevent them from getting shots on target. And at the same time, they have terrible finishing throughout most of that. In this half, they get 26 touches in our box. They create 3 big chances, and they miss 2 of them. Kavica is the big chance that they convert. Liverpool do not have a shot on target throughout the game. And I think we actually, on the whole of the game, we have 3 shots worth 0.18 XG. The overall ball possession in the game is they have 74% possession of the ball, and Liverpool have 26%. I do not know what more to say, aside from that is humiliation. Humiliation. You're supposed to be a top team.
Yeah.
You don't go there, play like a top team. My argument is, although we set up to contain PSG in that game, we don't contain them. They create enough to win 5-0, but they don't win 5-0. So the flip side of this, Ben, is PSG now have to go to Anfield with the 2-goal lead. Can Liverpool turn it around?
I remember seeing Liverpool turn around against Barcelona. That's Barcelona.
We had a really, really good team. We didn't have Arne Slot playing random 5 at the back. I'll give you a crazy stat, and then we'll close this game out.
Yeah. PSG
created more XG in that game tonight against Liverpool than they did in both legs combined against Chelsea.
Jeez.
And they scored 8 goals.
What do we leave that up to? Do we leave that up to just poor, like...
It's poor finishing.
Finishing? Okay. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Because, like, dude, the amount of times where I was like, goal. Yeah. Do you know when you're, like, passively watching a game, you're like, goal. And it's like, how the hell did he miss that?
Yeah.
That happened several times in that game. Liverpool were bailed out, ultimately only losing 2-0. But the idea of, like, going there, being happy with a 2-0 loss is nuts to me. For me, that's one of the most humiliating games I've seen Liverpool play. And we're going to end it on that.
Yeah.
If Ben and I preview the game at Anfield, I'm going to be pretty up for it because we have a chance. They've left us with a chance. Yeah. It's not a great chance because of how much better they are than us, but we have a chance. Let's get into the Premier League action this weekend really quickly.
Yeah, let's get into it.
So I'm going to discuss Liverpool versus Fulham. and then we'll discuss Arsenal-Bournemouth. How does that work?
I like that. Yeah.
So injuries for Fulham. Tete is out and Kevin is out. Two, I'd say, starters for the most part. I think Kevin at times has come on as a sub, but Alisson is still out for Liverpool, which is obviously a miss.
Yeah.
Actually, where I think Mamadashvili, he actually plays pretty well against PSG. He just doesn't have that box presence Alisson has. We definitely missed it in that PSG game. Form of the two teams. So, believe it or not, Fulham are in better form than Liverpool are in the Premier League. Fulham have 3 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw in their last 5. Last Premier League win was February 28th.
Oh.
And it was against Forest, I think. It was either Forest or West Ham. I think it was a 5-2 win.
It was West Ham.
It's a 5-2 win against West Ham.
Yeah.
2 wins, 2 losses, and 1 draw. Slots Liverpool are yet to beat Fulham, Ben. We've played them 3 times under Arne. 2-2 draw, 3-2 loss, and 2-2 draw. The 2-2 draw, I believe, is actually when... what happens there? Actually, that might be the... Actually, no, the initial 2-2 draw is when Robertson gets sent off. And we're lucky to actually get a point from that. The 3-2 loss is when all the players are drunk after they've won the league, basically.
Yeah.
Personally, I'll speak kind of in, I guess, good standing of Fulham. I think for a team kind of where they are on the table, I think Marco Silva's teams have always played pretty good football. And I'll get some stats to kind of prove that a little bit. So Fulham are 4th for accurate passes per game. That shows you a couple of things. That shows you they're not only executing well, that probably shows you they're not playing a bunch of long balls. Or does it?
No, I think actually they're accurate with the long balls.
They are. So they're also 3rd in the league for accurate long balls per game.
Yeah.
So they're not only passing really well short, but they're passing really well long as well. So that I put that down to the way they distribute out of the back. I think Bassi is criminally underrated.
I absolutely agree. I think Bassi is one of those defenders who flies under the radar. He's one of those Premier League defenders who does really well at defending, but also can actually deliver a ball.
Yeah.
He knows the game. He knows where his teammates are going to be. And that's really what a long ball is about. It's not if you can boot the ball, it's do you know where the right player is going to be at the right time.
And I'd say their starting striker being Raul Jimenez, he's a aggressive ball winner. He'll contest duels all day long and be happy.
Yeah, he got a head injury because of it.
Yeah, good point. They're also 3rd for accurate crosses per game. So they like to deliver the ball in the box.
Yeah.
Kind of just as we said, you're putting the ball into their midfielders are typically late runners. Iwobi does that pretty much all of the time.
Yep.
Whatever really good players they have. Harry Wilson, I think, has been a revelation this season.
Yeah, he's been wonderful. Yeah.
Ex-Liverpool player, by the way.
Yeah.
Out of contract this summer, so he could end up going somewhere. Those stats don't only show you, at least for me, that they're executing well, but they also have a bunch of volume, which shows an offensive team, at least to me. They're 13th in the league, but they play pretty aggressive football. That, for me, then dictates how the key battles go in the game. So, for me, the key battles across the pitch. How Gravenberch deals with runs from deep from Iwobi. In that PSG game, he was so bad at looking from what's running from behind him. He can't do that in this game. Granted, you're not dealing with fucking Vitinha, but you're dealing with a guy that loves to drive into space.
Yeah.
Iwobi has scored a few goals this season from the idea of making blindside runs. Got to stop that. That can't happen.
Yeah, Iwobi has been playing a bit more deeper in the second half of the season, and he is making those late runs in. So I feel like he's probably going to take advantage of that, especially if they studied PSG and saw how those rotations confuse the midfielders and defenders.
Absolutely.
I don't think Liverpool is going to set up in the same way with a 5-man back in the Premier League as they would, but that is an opportunity to exploit for them.
Definitely. So that's one of the other ones. Salah up high. I think Robinson is a overlapping fullback, like a quintessentially overlapping fullback. In those situations, Liverpool needs to play quickly through the lines, and Salah has to pull Bassi wide, at least for me. He has to occupy that right half space and catch Bassi between 2 stalls ultimately. Yeah. Do I take the central player or do I need to come out to Mohamed Salah? So that's one of the other battles. I do not see Salah at this stage of his career winning physical duels against Bassi.
No.
So what he needs to do is he needs to draw him out and basically take players away from the game for him having possession of the ball, essentially, at least for me.
Yeah, I think that's what he needs to do. I think that these defenders and Mark Silva are very astute, and they know that they don't need to commit as many people to Salah, sadly.
Unfortunately,
But I think that if he can do something brilliant and drag those players out and create that space in the middle, it'd be a good opportunity for some of the central forwards to be able to get there.
And last but not least, before getting into the predictions, Konate at times this year has specifically with very physical strikers, he gets into these wrestling matches with them, and it hurts him. Konate is tremendous at defending space. Like, he's excellent at it, but he's not good at dealing with, like, very contested physical duels constantly. It kind of takes him away from the overall game plan. Yeah. Do not get into those physical battles with Raul Jimenez. That's what Jimenez wants, essentially. Those are the key battles. Those are some interesting facts about Fulham. Ben, what's your prediction for this game?
I think we're going to see something incredible from Isak off the bench. I think it's going to be, I'm going to say it's 2-1.
2-1 Liverpool.
Liverpool.
So I'm going to say, so this is the stage of the season now where Liverpool cannot afford to drop more points.
I mean, we have secured, Premier League has secured five positions for the Champions League. Liverpool needs to maintain that 5th position. They are 5 points off of Villa in 4th, and Chelsea is 1 point behind them. Brentford and Everton are 3 points behind them.
Scary.
So they need to maintain that.
Yeah, definitely. I think Fulham with a win don't too far behind. Actually, I don't know if it's Fulham, but there's a few teams behind us that with a win now actually quite close to us.
Fulham with a win are 2 points behind Liverpool.
That's it. That's scary, man.
Yeah.
They have to do something here.
Yeah.
The difficult thing about this, at least for me, before I get into my prediction, is the last run of games that we previewed, that was Liverpool's easy run.
Yeah.
Who Liverpool have to play now is this isn't an easy run anymore. They cannot continue dropping points. Liverpool are going to win this game 3-1.
Okay.
And I absolutely love the call for Isak off of the bench. I would love Isak to start this game.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit too soon for him, but ultimately I think it ends 3-1. Arsenal-Bournemouth, then.
Arsenal-Bournemouth.
First, tell me what you expect the lineup to be for Arsenal.
Arsenal lineup, I really do expect we'll have Gyökeres start, obviously. I honestly think we're probably going to see Havertz instead of Odegaard, largely because I think Odegaard took a knock in the 60th minute. He's going to want to rest for it.
He also played the majority of that game, too.
Exactly. He played the majority of the game, so I think we'll save Odegaard for the home match against him. I do think we're going to see rotation with Martinelli starting on this one as well. You know, Saka's been out with a muscle injury, so I think he's going to be doubtful. I think we'll see Madueke as well. Rice Zubimendi in midfield, and then I think our back line is going to be the same as a midweek. I don't believe we have... I've seen reports that Nkapie is back, and honestly, for this match, I would prefer to see Nkapie over Calafiori.
Yeah.
And Calafiori come in as a sub because I want Calafiori in the midweek. And then Timber, I've heard, is doubtful.
Okay.
He's coming back from injury, but it's still doubtful.
So I think expect to see White.
I'd expect to see Ben White. Like, he played on Tuesday. He's going to play again now.
And Zubimendi Rice almost guaranteed for this game.
Zubimendi Rice guaranteed. I don't expect them to sit out for this.
Madueke, this game for me is made way more fun with the idea of Madueke and Martinelli starting.
Absolutely, yeah. Especially a team like Bournemouth. Like, Bournemouth likes to move that ball quickly and move the ball up fast. Like, there's a lot of space to exploit. Jimenez and Trufer both come up very, very high. Sinise and Hill are fast, but they're kind of bigger ball playing center backs. There's a lot of places to exploit them. Both Christie and Scott, I think, are going to start this. They're also this rotational midfielders who do like to be a bit more aggressive.
Scott's been brilliant recently.
Yeah, Scott's been really, really good.
Really good.
I know Travanair is back. Aldi Rayan are most likely going to start again.
Yeah.
You know, I think Evan Nielsen's going to start this. I think it should be Krupi Jr. though. But I think Evan Nielsen. I think that the chaos and the speed that Krupi Jr. brings is going to be a bit more is what's going to be required for teams to do what they want to do against Arsenal. When you have someone who's a bit more settled like Evan Nielsen, I don't know if that's going to be the right choice, but, you know, I'm not paid the money to set this team up.
I think, Evan Nielsen's profile is he is pretty good at creating chaos himself. He's like a decent off-the-ball striker.
Yeah.
He's quite good at hurrying players. He's also a pretty underrated finisher, but Krupi is an excellent finisher.
Yeah.
I think he's shown that this year. I agree. I think the game has a making of, a bit of chaos, potentially.
I mean, do you remember the last time they faced each other with that crazy goal from Nielsen in the 10th minute?
I remember that.
Gabriel in the 16th, Krupi in the 70. Rice then had a 54th minute, went up to 2-1, and then Krupi came in and he had that goal in the 76th.
Crazy finish.
Yeah. Rice had that brace. It's funny. I remember that game so well because I benched Rice in our fantasy league.
Yeah, I remember
so it was like, oh, Rice is injured, and he had his best performance of this season in that game.
That's how it goes.
And that's how I lost that fantasy.
So, like, for me, key tactical battles this game.
Yeah.
I think this game is won by how the wingers can exploit fullbacks. I don't think the thing is with Arsenal is their fullbacks play high, but they play high because of rest defense. They don't play high because they're trying to consistently deliver ball after ball after ball.
No.
I'm really curious to see how players like Ryan and Adley try and take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Like the idea of fullbacks being up high, are they going to cheat a little bit? Are they going to be trying to... Is the game plan going to be put balls in behind their fullbacks into channels and try and latch onto it? And on the flip side, that applies to Bournemouth too, man. Like Truffert, typically up high.
Yeah.
Jimenez, typically up high, very aggressive. And you guys, Madueke and Martinelli, I think is your fastest wing combination.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So I'm really curious to see how that pans out.
Yeah, I do hope that this is going to be an open, fun game of football.
Yeah.
To watch. I think last time we watched it, it was a bit more fun. I think Arsenal coming off of like the 4 straight wins need another win this weekend to have that secure before going to City.
You play before City, you have the opportunity to be 12 points ahead.
Yeah.
By the time they play, do it. Just get it done.
Yeah, just get it done. Like, let them know, like, all right, you won the Mickey Mouse Cup. We have the league. That's kind of what's really required from them.
Obviously, Raya comes back in. Yeah, I'd be excited to see Havertz in this game combined with Gyökeres, especially if Bournemouth are a team that give you space, man.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Exactly.
So
this isn't a game about control. This is a game about penetration.
Using chaos at the right moments.
Yeah.
And I think if Madueke, Martinelli, Havertz, and Gyökeres start as that front 4, I think that's a team that's better set up to take advantage of chaos.
Yeah. If there's anything that Arteta needs to work on, I think the one thing Arteta needs to work on is you see a lot of the really good teams right now who are able to not just create tempo, but switch tempo, right?
Facts.
Pep is really good at maintain, switch, and his entire team knows how to do that. If Arteta can figure that out against the mid-table teams, he can figure it out against other teams and trap them into it. I think this is the perfect opportunity to do that, especially with a team like Bournemouth.
I really like what you pulled out there, like the ability to change tempo. And the way a lot of like teams do that ultimately is they do that based on what phases they're in. Biggest example I could give you that is Jurgen. Like Jurgen's build up from the back would typically be quite slow. But when the midfield picks up the ball in space, the idea now is that we move it as quickly as possible, especially in our last year, 23-24 with Jurgen.
Yeah.
That's really how we played. Like it was the idea of Trent inverting picks up the ball in space and really quick, direct balls into forward players or balls directly in behind. I'm looking forward to this game. It bugs me that it's at 4:30.
It's at 4:30. That's why we're recording here at 6:41. And then hopefully I'll be in bed or getting ready for bed in a couple hours so I can wake up.
And guys, we're not saying 4:30 p.m. We're saying 4:30 a.m. Like we in the US, we regularly wake up for these games.
I will be waking up at 4 o'clock, getting ready and driving over to the Bluefoot because I want to watch this with the boys. There's going to be 6 or 7 of us. We're not going to drink till 6. Yeah, it's going to be very. I mean, it's opening up 6 or 7 of us.
I love it, man. I love it.
Prediction for this game: Arsenal is going to win this 3-1.
3-1.
I want Arsenal to win this. My prediction is 2-1, but I want it to be 3-1. Can we do a prediction and want and desire? Yeah, I'm going to stick to a 3-1. Let's do 3-1.
I'm going to do probably the thing you don't want to see. I mean, you
think it's a draw?
No, it's not.
Okay.
You want to see it, but it's going to be nervy. I think you guys win 1-0.
I don't want to see that.
I
don't want to wake up at 4:30 for that, man. But
I think it's going to be like back and forth. Raya bails you out. Your defenders are playing well as they typically do. Who do I think scores for Arsenal in a 1-0 win? This has Havertz all over it.
This has Havertz all over it.
Or like a corner. You guys exploit them off of a set piece. But like, let's be honest here. This stage of the season, where Arsenal are, this isn't about putting in big performances.
It's not. It's about just getting results.
1-0 would be a result for us.
1-0 is the result. You're right.
So that's Arsenal Bournemouth. We don't have anything else to discuss, really. Do you have anything else on your top of your mind?
No, I think it's gonna be a good. This next run-in is going to be a lot of football. I think I'm excited to kind of look at it, review it, preview it. So yeah, always enjoy these.
Absolutely. As always, guys, like us on Spotify, wherever you need to like us, subscribe to the channel, do what you need to do. Apart from that, we're out. Gonna drink some more beer. Peace.
Cheers, y'all.